So listen up, because we think God's got a good word for you in our new series.
Don't waste your life. Yeah.
It's tight. I think that's cool.
I think it's perfect.
Well, hello, guys. My name is Dane. Super excited to be talking to you today. And I'll be honest, it's going to be a bit of a rough one. You know, we are walking through the life of Joseph to see how God could have a purpose for our life, even when we can't see it, even when we don't understand it. So we're just going to dive right in. Jared introduced us to Joseph last week, talking about how God had gifted Joseph with specific gifts and talents and had a purpose for his gifts there. And, you know, Joseph, we learn more about him and kind of figure out his story. You know, he's the youngest of 12 brothers. His father, Jacob, constantly talked about how he was the favorite. He made him like this nice little special coat and would like, check it out, guys, he's my favorite. I love him the most to all of his other brothers, which has got to be kind of painful. And so then Joseph decides to share this dream he has with his brothers and his family and says, hey guys, yeah, one day you're all going to bow down to me and worship me as your king. And of course, man, this makes them angry. I tried this. You know, I'm the youngest sibling. I went up, I used to get beat up a lot by my older brother and older sister. And I was like, hey guys, one day I'm going to be bigger than you. I'm going to be the one beating you up someday. And then they would just beat me up more for saying that. And that's kind of the situation that happens here. Man, Joseph's brothers are like, oh, we're going to bow down to you, little bro? Okay. So they start planning to kill Joseph. All right. All his brothers get together like, all right, let's kill this guy. So they're all like rallying. Okay, we'll take him out to the wilderness. We can stage his death, do all these things. And then Judah, one of the brothers, goes, hey, whoa, guys, come on. This is our brother we're talking about, okay? We can't kill him. We see it in Genesis 37. He says to his brothers, guys, what will we gain by killing our own brother? We'd have to cover up the crime. It's a bad idea. Let's think sensibly. He says, instead of hurting him, let's just sell him to those Ishmaelite traders. Let's sell him into slavery. And they're all like, yeah, wow, great idea, man. So after all, he is our own brother, our own flesh and blood, and his brothers agreed. So when the Ishmaelites, who were Midianite traders, came by, Joseph's brothers pulled him out of this cistern, this little hole they threw him in, and sold him for 20 pieces of silver, and the traders took him to Egypt. So they sell their brother Joseph into slavery. And this is a very painful moment for Joseph. Man, he's betrayed by his entire family. He's alone. He's become a slave. And you're at this point, you're thinking, man, what the heck is going on? Where is God in all of this? And we can relate to this, man, when times of pain, man, wondering, what is all this for? What is God doing in this? And so we're going to talk about, man, how God might actually have a purpose for the painful things you're going through. And so the first thing when it comes to pain is, man, you got to be honest about what's painful in your life. Be honest about what's painful in your life. Water break. See, it's an incredibly powerful thing to be able to name and identify, man, what is going wrong in your life. And this is something that's hard for me. I like to ignore painful things, like to act like everything's okay, nothing's wrong. But the truth is, man, we've all been through something painful. We're all struggling. Man, life, the reality of life, man, life is painful. And a lot of you guys have been through some really painful things. Man, you've lost a loved one. It's painful. Your parents are divorced. You know, you used to be best friends with someone, and now they don't even talk to you. Man, that's painful. You ever been rejected or broken up with? That's painful. In love with someone who loves somebody else? Oof, pain. Man, you tried really hard for something, you failed, you didn't get it. Man, your own mental health, you're depressed, you're anxious. Man, life can be so painful. And there's painful things we've all been through. Even, man, in these past 2 years, it's been hard, man. There's been loss and grief. I was talking to a friend a little while ago, and she was just like kind of wondering. She was sitting there wondering, she's like, I wonder how long it's going to take for all of us to recover from the trauma of the pandemic. I never even heard someone describe it like that. Like, oh yeah, man, this has been a traumatic experience for all of us. And we're all processing it and dealing with it differently. And it's okay to be honest about this, man. There's pressure sometimes to act like everything's okay, even when it's not, or belittle it when we compare ourselves to others. You know, one of my biggest pet peeves is when I share something hard with somebody else and they go, oh, dude, that's not even a big deal. You know, it could be worse. Other people have it way worse than you do, so you shouldn't complain. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm still hurting though, you know. I just want to tell you guys right now, it's okay to not be okay. You have permission to not be okay. Don't compare yourselves to other people, man. We're all going through something difficult. Man, your feelings are valid. And it's heartbreaking for Joseph because, man, he goes through some crazy things. I'll give you kind of the cliff notes of what happens next. So he becomes this servant for this Egyptian officer. He's the slave to this Egyptian officer and then gets falsely accused of sexually assaulting this officer's wife, so then gets thrown into prison. And, man, he's just there for years, going through all these hard things. And eventually he interprets a dream for Pharaoh to rescue the land of Egypt from this 7-year famine and becomes Pharaoh's right-hand man. So instantly is boosted to this position of power in Egypt. And so years later, in this ironic twist of fate, since there's no food in the land, his brothers now have to go to Egypt and beg Pharaoh for food. And so they come and they meet with Joseph, and they don't even recognize him because, of course, they're not thinking that like their brother that they sold had become this, right-hand man to Pharaoh, this powerful person in Egypt. But man, Joseph recognizes him, and it's instantly painful for him. And it's really heartbreaking. There's like 2 situations where he's talking to his brothers, and you'll see it in verse 24. It says, he turned away from them and began to weep. And when he regained his composure, he spoke to them again. He does this again, too, because, man, talking to them is so painful. He's trying to figure out, man, how do I respond to this? What do I do? He's not okay. He's in pain. And it's okay to be honest about, man, what is painful. And so what I want to encourage you guys to do, man, when you're going through things that are hard, is to invite others into it. Man, invite others into it. You don't have to be alone in what you're going through. And this can be a really scary thing to do, because sharing your wounds with someone is vulnerable and you're not sure how they're going to respond. When I was 13 years old, I got appendicitis, okay? I woke up on a Saturday morning and it just felt like a knife was just in my side. I wasn't okay. And my stepdad, we had to do all these chores. So I was like in the backyard, just hunched over this wheelbarrow, hauling dirt, I was like, I can't, my stomach hurts. And my stepdad's like, are you kidding me? Stomachache, suck it up, be a man. Haul the dirt. And I just kept complaining and complaining. So he finally got annoyed, sent me up to my room because he didn't want to hear it anymore. And I was just like in my bed, hunched over. And so my brother had to do all my chores for me. And he was upset. So hours later, he came up to my room. He's like, I know you're faking. And he just started like throwing things at me, like books. He's like, come on, get up. I know you can get up. Don't you want to fight me? I know you're faking. I was just sitting there like crying, like, please leave me alone. I'm not okay. So the next morning, Sunday morning rolls around. I try to eat breakfast. I throw it up. Still, people think I'm just, pretending. To be fair, I used to do this kind of thing a lot, just pretend to be sick to get out of things and stay home from school. So I get it. It's a bit of a cries wolf situation. But, this time it was real. So Sunday morning, I try to eat breakfast. I throw it up. My mom, she was really into natural medicine, and so she made me this like weird potion. I don't know what was in it. And she's like, here, drink it. It'll make you feel better. So I drank it and just threw it up instantly. It tasted awful. And she's like, oh, did that help? No, it didn't help. Are you kidding me? Some random spices? It was awful. And then Monday morning comes around. I'm like hunched over. I couldn't even stand up. I was supposed to go to school. I just crawled down the hallway, banged on my parents' door. My mom opened the door. I'm just sitting there in the hall like some curled up, sweaty, dead possum in the hallway, just saying, please don't make me go to school. I'm in pain. And so finally, like my mom's like, okay, I think something's wrong. And so, yeah, they take me to the hospital. It's appendicitis. I get surgery and get it taken out. Yeah. All right. And this is how it feels when we're trying to tell people what's going on. Man, people don't respond in the right way. You have people telling you, hey, dismiss it, tell you get over it. It's not that big of a deal. Suck it up. You have people make fun of the painful things you've been through. You have people offer you things, say, hey, drink this or smoke this. Maybe it'll make it better. And of course it doesn't. So man, find people you love and trust and invite them into it so you don't have to be going through it alone, even though it's hard. Man, C.S. Lewis, he wrote this amazing book called The Problem of Pain. And in it, there's this incredible quote where he says, mental and emotional pain is less dramatic than physical pain, but is more common and also more hard to bear. The frequent attempt to conceal mental and emotional pain increases the burden because it's easier to say my tooth is aching than to say my heart is broken. Man, it's a really, really hard thing to invite people into the deep wounds of your life. My wife said something profound to me the other day where she said she wished she could wear a cast over her soul so that people could tell when she wasn't doing okay. And these are tough things, man, to be honest about, to invite other people into it. So invite others in. Don't be alone in what you're going through. And next, invite God into what you're going through. And this is a tough one to accept because for many of you, it's because of the painful things you've been through where you feel angry at God or feel like God isn't anywhere near. And it's probably the painful things you've experienced or seen is probably enough evidence for you to think, okay, God's not even around or God's not good. God doesn't love me because, man, why would I be going through this if God was here, if God loved me and cared about me? Where is he in all this? And you're not alone in feeling this way either. I've been here. Man, we see things all throughout the Bible. In Psalm 42, David writes, he says, "My heart is breaking as I remember how it used to be. Every night I have tears for food, and people taunt me, asking, 'Where is this God of yours? Where is he?'" You're in so much pain. You have tears for food. Where is God? And I've been through this. I've shared before that my mom passed away from cancer. A long time ago now, 9 years ago now. And I became a Christian, gave my life to Jesus and was baptized, and a month later, she died. And that messed me up because I was like, I couldn't understand. I was like, God, I'm doing everything right. I thought you would hear me now. I thought you would hear my prayers now. I thought things would be different. You had the power to heal her, and yet you didn't. I never prayed for anything harder in my life. God, where were you? And it was hard. I knew God was real, but I was struggling. I was angry and I was confused. And after a while, I finally came back to church. I remember I sat in the back and there was this worship song playing. And one of the lyrics said, "Forever my heart will sing of how great you are." And I was just crying in the back of the room because I was sitting there thinking, I can't imagine a day will ever come where I could sing those words again, or my heart will feel like I could sing how great God is. So I had kind of this option. And instead of just kind of bailing on the whole thing, I decided, okay, I'm going to invite other people into what I'm going through. I'm going to find community. I'm going to start wrestling and crying out to God to figure out what this is. Because I wanted to get to a place where I could say, no, God is still good despite these painful things I've been through. Because if I couldn't say that, then I was just going to bail. Then this wasn't worth it. And when I came to find out, as I learned more about God and other people kind of walked with me to help figure this out and what I was going through, man, I realized, God never promises life is going to be easy. He knows this world is broken and filled with sin and filled with pain. He says, yes, in this world you will have trouble. It took me a long time to realize that God isn't the cause of your pain. He's the one that can rescue you from it. Man, that's what God is here to do. So where is God? Psalm 34:18, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. He rescues those whose spirits are crushed." God is with you in it. He was with me through all my painful moments. He was with Joseph when he was a slave and he was in prison, and he's with you in your hurt also. Man, that's where God is. So don't let pain drive you away from God. See it as a time to invite him into it and have him walk with you in it. And so last, I want to encourage you guys as you invite other people into it, invite God into it, is just to see pain as an opportunity for growth. And this requires like a huge shift. If I was like a Marine or like an NFL coach, this would be like a whole like motivational, yeah, pain is gain, brother. But that's not really my style. But there's some truth that, yeah, pain can actually be helpful in growing and finding a way to grow. It's this old saying, you grow through what you go through. And yeah, life's going to suck sometimes, okay? It's going to be hard. I know this isn't the most encouraging message, but yeah, it's the truth, man. We're going through some painful things, and you can choose to either numb it and run from it or learn and grow from it. And if we're real, man, there's some painful things in our life that, we kind of bring on ourselves from the choices we make, the mistakes we make. When I was in 5th grade, I got on the bus after school. I sat next to this kindergartner on this bench, and I was talking to my friend across the aisle. And this kid, his name was Austin. He lived in the same apartment complex as me. He tapped me on the shoulder, and I turned over. I'm like, "What?" He goes, Hey, what'd you ask Santa for Christmas? And I just go, "Nothing, because Santa's not real." So mean. So I turn around to talk to my friend. And he taps me on the shoulder again. I'm like, "Oh, what?" And I just turn around. I just see this little fist. He bang, punches me right in the mouth. And my lips started bleeding. The kid sitting behind me was like, "Guys, Dane just got beat up by a kindergartner." And everyone's like laughing and roaring, and my lips bleeding. I was like, my lips were chapped. It wasn't even a hard punch. Just freaking out. But I couldn't even be mad, okay? You can't just shatter a kindergartner's worldview and expect him not to, punch you in the face, bop you in the mouth. It's going to happen. It's super mean. So yeah, we do these things where we make the decisions and we're just sitting there like, well, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions. Some of you guys, man, you'll like fall and get a crush on this dude who's just a giant walking red flag with legs. Okay? And all your friends are like, "No, don't go anywhere near that guy." You got your parents saying it. Teachers might even get involved and be like, "Yeah, you should stay away from that dude. You're going to get hurt." And you're just like, "But he's just a really hot red flag." And then a month later, you're crying into a bag of hot Cheetos, writing some posts about how broken your heart is at midnight. I'm not speaking from personal experience. But we've all been there, man. We've all done those things. We've all made those mistakes. So no shame. But I just want to let you know, man, we all make those mistakes and it's okay, but it's not okay to not learn from it. Man, what is God trying to teach you? To keep you from hurting yourself again and again and again and winding up in the same places. So there's the things in our control, then there's the things that are just hard, that are just out of our control. And I'm praying for you guys, it's a really hard time to be a teenager. You guys are going through so much. There's some Wednesday nights where I get to the end of the night, I get in my car and just start weeping from some of the things the students are going through there, at home, at school, with their mental health. It's heartbreaking, man, and it's hard. And I'm so sorry for what you're going through. And I know it's not easy. And I just want to leave you with some encouragement that's helped me in painful times in my life. And it comes from Psalm 23. It's a pretty well-known psalm. The whole psalm is beautiful, but there's one verse that says, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, God, you are with me and you comfort me." And some of you guys feel like you're in that valley right now. Things seem dark. And you think, man, what is this all for? Where is God? But pay attention to what he says. He says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. He doesn't say, this is where I'm going to stay. No, this is where you're making home. This is the rest of your life. God is saying, no, you are walking through the valley. And not only that, I am with you in it. And what creates a shadow but a bigger light waiting behind it? That at the end of this valley that God is going to bring you through, man, God has a hope and a light and a purpose for what you are going through now. And he's with you in it. This isn't the end of the story. Things aren't just going to be dark forever. No, God has a purpose and a plan for you. And we come back to Joseph, and finally he reveals to his brothers who he really is, and so they're freaking out, thinking, oh my gosh, he's going to get back at me. He's going to kill us all. He's this powerful man now. They're bowing down to him like his dream had come true. And he responds to them in this beautiful way. He says, don't be afraid of me. Am I God that I can punish you? He says, you intended to harm me, but God intended it all for good. He brought me to this position so I could save the lives of many people. See, what's intended for evil, what's intended to hurt, God can use it for good. God is with you in it. God's going to bring you through it, and God can bring a purpose to the painful things you've been through. And that's my hope and encouragement for you guys tonight. I love you so much. Thank you for listening. Be well. I'm praying for you guys. Have a good one.